Hello and welcome to this final live session for the course Fundamentals of Artificial Intelligence. I'm Professor Shyamanta Hazarika from IIT Guwahati. We will take questions. Any questions that you have, you may put it on the chat. And I'll also take questions from the document that was circulated. So we can see a very lukewarm response to the questionnaire being circulated earlier. But there is a Rohit Kumar who is interested in understanding the exam pattern. So let me repeat it once more for his benefit and benefit of others completing this course on fundamentals of artificial intelligence. So his first question says, what type of questions will be asked in exam? Will there be only MCQ, one right answer, or both MCQ and multi-select? How many questions will be asked in the exam? And if possible, please provide a sample or practice set of questions. Now, Mr. Rohit Kumar, the NPTEL examination for my course, Fundamentals of Artificial Intelligence, will have three distinct sections. Now, the three distinct sections have their own purpose and aim of evaluating the scholar. First section, which would comprise of definitely what is called the multiple choice questions with one right answer, or could be multiple select questions, which is where more than one answer could be correct, and you have to select all the correct or getting full points. So the question paper would have both types of questions. As for the number of questions, as I was telling you, it have three sections. Section 1 is aimed towards understanding how much the scholar had followed the lectures. So most of the stuff there would be recall type of questions from the lecture videos. So the questions here would have been already covered the material of the questions in section 1 is from the lecture videos, and this section is designed to test recall of how much you have assimilated of the video lectures that you have followed. Section 2, on the other hand, is about understanding how much rigor and seriousness the student has shown in completing the assignments. So most, if not all, questions of section 2 will be from the assignments. These questions, if you may use the word repeated, would be repeated from the assignments that you have completed within this course. But then the purpose here is to really see what rigor, with what rigor you have done the assignments, because they will test not only the fact that that assignment has been done by the student himself, but also fundamental concepts covered in the video lectures, which were evaluated via the assignments. So that would be the major chunk. One, the recall questions from the video lectures itself. Other, a couple of questions from the assignments, which would give us some idea of continuous assessment or how you have been doing the course over the last 12 weeks as we have planned. Then there would be a third section. Now, not to scare you, but the third section is designed to really look at what the student has gained in terms of understanding concepts, not only from the video, but other sources available to him. So it is designed to really understand a comprehensive knowledge that he has gathered on artificial intelligence. But then all of these concepts that would be evaluated will have some grounding in the lectures, of course, but they would not be direct questions like in section 1 where you are supposed to recall from the lectures, or in but the third section would examine your comprehensive knowledge on AI vis-a-vis the concepts covered in this course. So it would be not just material that's in the lectures, but of course, based on material in the lectures, something more would be asked. The idea is to see how much you have gathered knowledge from sources other than just the video lectures. So that's section 3. Now, in these sections, what we are looking for is in section 1 and section 2 is your understanding of the lectures and your understanding of the assignments. Section 3 would also have certain case-based study or case-based questions. That is, the whole scenario would be given to you in terms of, let's say, a story that few people are going for a journey and they are taking a train, and many other facts would be given. And you may be asked to represent these facts in first order logic or figure out certain new facts from these given facts. So you would be asked to prove a particular theorem, prove a particular new fact in that given list of facts. So that would be section 3. Section 3 would have multiple choice, multiple select questions, of course, and would have also groups of questions from a given case. And that portion of question would be, I think, something that the student need to have and have fundamentals of this course very clear to attempt it. So there would be some 5 questions from a given case and 5 questions from some other given case. So 10 questions in total on something like that. Rest of the questions would be on just recall and assignments. As for how many questions would be asked, it is slightly difficult to tell you because it varies over different question papers and different sections. But the total marks of this exam is known to you, and therefore you can obviously guess because each question will be not more than 2 marks. So you can guess the number of questions. Thank you very much. So I don't see any other question, neither do I see any other participant. Maybe If you have any more questions, Rohit, yeah, you may like to ask, and we can continue our discussion. So, Mr. Sanjay Raj has asked a question if there will be any numerical questions. It's difficult for me to understand what you mean by numerical question. I guess you are trying to ask if you need a calculator to be used. Yes, we have questions on probability which may need calculators to be used or numericals. So probability in decision making, in that I had covered in Bayesian decision making and decision tree type of questions. Very short calculations may need to be done. So if you are allowed a calculator, you can keep it. And else such numerical calculations can also be done and manually. They will be very simple numerical calculations. If that is what you meant by any numerical, yes. And as for our these type of questions, if there are any, they would be only asked in section 3, which is about checking your comprehensive understanding of the fundamentals of the content in this course, and therefore would not be distributed over all the 3 sections. Such questions, if any, would be restricted only to section 3. So as for Mr. Rohit Kumar, your question on how many questions will be there in each section, to be honest, I have no clue on the number of questions in each section. But there would be at least 10 questions from recall, 10 to 15 questions from the assignments, and 10 to 15 possibly from the third section, and looking at how much you have gained doing this course. So we have already done most of the modules of this course. Right now, we are doing the final module, possibly, which is machine learning. And I would emphasize that having done the fundamentals of AI and having seen this module on machine learning, where you'll be exposed to supervised methods, unsupervised, as well as I will cover reinforcement learning. And then we also have a couple of lectures on deep learning. So this exposure should prepare anybody, not only people from computer science, but people from all different sections of the engineering spectrum to really take up AI for some application and in their domain of expertise. So that is what is the aim of this course. The aim of this course has been to be really bring in as many people into the folds of artificial intelligence, and people who are not trained to be computer science graduates. How do they bridge to artificial intelligence and machine learning and make a contribution? That's what is one of the aims of this course. And I think if you have done the fundamentals of the 6 modules that we have done, you must have gathered enough in AI. And the 7th module will be exposed to machine learning. And that should be a very good arsenal in your repository to take up AI and ML in the domain of your expertise. And that would give a more or interesting combination. And instead of doing just data science, I love to see data science and engineering done hand in glove rather than data science being looked at as separate tool and all of us engineers sitting idly in the second and option. It is the perfect mix of data science algorithms or AI and ML algorithms with fundamentals of engineering. And that's going to change in the way we look at AI and ML. And that will only come if you clear your fundamentals. Okay, now Rohit has this interesting question, and why only singular convolutional neural nets were used in the 90s. Now, as you'll see, I have a complete lecture on artificial neural nets coming in your week 7. But then to answer your question and in a very short and crisp manner, 90s see this idea of artificial neural networks had its own days of bright sunshine and waning away, where people found that it holds a lot of promise, but didn't know how to distribute the weights it's among the network layers, and therefore it did not get the popularity it was supposed to get, and therefore people restricted themselves to only 1 or 2 layers of the network. With the idea of how these weights can be really sorted out, the idea of solving this problem had changed the way you look at neural networks today. And that's something that we will see in our lecture on artificial neural networks in module 7. Rupendra Parida again says, give some idea for upcoming exam. I have been doing that from the beginning of this live session. So please push yourself to the beginning part. I have completely explained the pattern of the exam, in fact, the structure of the exam, and what is expected of you. So what is expected of you is that you cover all the video lectures properly so that you can recall things from the videos. That would be one portion. Other portion would be where you would cover all the assignments. So somebody has asked for sample question sets. Your assignment questions are your sample question set. So you would get direct questions from the assignments itself and some amount of fundamental questions that will be there in a third section, which will look at how you have taken this course and what beyond this course you have learned from other resources. Yes, if there are any more questions, you may kindly post your queries, and I would try to answer them to the best of my abilities. Rohit, this is a very interesting question. Rohit Kumar has again and put a very interesting question, which was part of an assignment question as well. And I have asked my TAs to also respond to that query in the chat that we have on the NPTEL home pages. So he asks, sir, in existential quantifier, few is equivalent to some. This is controversial and it's a no as a direct answer. Some and for all are two quantifiers that you would use. Okay, for all would mean that for every x that is true, some would mean at least one it is true. So at least one means that it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go on and cover all of it. So some is a special case of all, whereas few is not. So few and some are not equivalent. Some means at least one is true, whereas all means all of the occurrences are true. And when I say at least one, it could be 1, 2, or all of them. So some is a special case of all, whereas few, when we use it in English, we mean some of them, but not all of them. So few is something like some, but not all, whereas some could be all as well to be true. So only one and at least one is different. Of course, only one means at least one could be 1 or 2, and only one is just a 1. And therefore, I'm saying some is at least 1 and could mean all of it. But some, but not all, would be few, because you are talking of a couple of them. So I hope that's clear to you, Rohit. So in that question, I had similar thing where people had people had put an option of few as correct as well for some, but that's not correct. Some but not all is what I would say few. Some is at least one. And one of my teaching assistant had also replied on the chat. So you can read that chat as well, where it's clarified vis-a-vis the question in the assignment. I hope this exposure to the different algorithms that we have done in artificial intelligence, first 6 modules of the course, and a couple of things that we'll cover in the 7th module. I hope this is useful to you, but my emphasis to all of you would be to really look up for problems in your domain of expertise and try to implement and a couple of algorithms that we have done in the class as part of our course here in your domain of expertise. Examples could be you could do first order logic theorem proving if you are or you are from some area that requires representation of knowledge and figuring out facts from given facts. Or you could take up certain classification problems that we have looked at, like decision trees, is and things of that nature. So there is another question from Purbananda Parida, who says, give suggestion what to do after the exam. This is a difficult question to answer because I don't know the background. So what you are doing right now. If you are a BTech or a master's student, and if you are doing my course, and if you are one of the top 5%, you have an option for NPTEL to spend a month with me, where you can come and join me for an internship. So there are people who have done this in the last couple of runs we had for this course. And this has been a very successful exercise. I have people coming and joining me from UP, Abdul Kalam Technological University, completing a course was with me and doing an internship, then converting that internship to another program that allows internships to be done by MTech students from other institutes at IITs. And now finally joining for her PhD in Denmark. So after exams, there are multiple options for you, but without understanding what your background is, it's difficult for me to tell you what you should do. But if you're a student and want to continue, and you have high scores in my exam, NPTEL course, then you can of course apply for an NPTEL internship that the NPTEL websites will announce for the top 5%, I believe is what they will look for. And you can join us for a paid internship. And that's very interesting. Now, Apurvananda Parida, I see that you are doing a master's in computer application, and that's a brilliant course. So you can of course join me after your master's for an internship, which is paid by NPTEL. But for that, you have to be in the top 5%. And if you are still a student, more the better. But if you have completed, still the NPTEL internship is open to you, I believe. Rohit Kumar, I don't know your background. Where are you from? But there are multiple ways one can join internship at IIT. There are summer internships and winter internships that are announced from the institute level. But the internship that I was referring to when I was speaking to Parida was an internship by NPTEL itself, based on your score on the courses that you do under NPTEL. So if you're within the top 5% and of these course, you could apply for 1 or 2 months internship with the course instructor, and NPTEL will pay you for that internship. So that's an option where you can go to NPTEL web pages and look at it. Now, as for Rohit, there is one question that I did not see in the beginning. So let me respond to that. He wants to know what is a tautology and what is a model in context of first order logic. So tautology is a statement that's always going to be true. And that's a tautology. So if you say P or not P, P or not P is always going to be true for a given set of facts. P could be true, and therefore the statement is true, or not P is true, and for that and for other set of facts, not P is true, and again the statement is true. So given any set of facts, a statement like P or not P is going to be true always. That's a tautology, and a model for a first order logic representation is a group of statements that will make each of them true in that interpretation. So that's a model. Now coming to Sri Khan the legend. Hi, Sri Khan the legend, or Sher Khan the legend. And he asks, sir, which are the most important lectures in this course? Now, this, for me, each lecture we have prepared painstakingly with so many people involved, right from the person who is developing the course, preparing the lectures. Then there is people who have done this. There are technical staff recording it. Then there are other people doing editing. And finally, we are placed in front of you. So for us, each lecture of the 30-hour course, the 30 lectures that we have, each one of them is important. Now, what do you mean by most important lectures in the course? Most important lectures vis-a-vis your exams. I have already explained. There will be recall questions from all the lectures. As for most important lectures in this course vis-a-vis your career in AI, I would say I draw up the whole history trends and future direction of artificial intelligence in first few lectures in my module 1. Okay, that should give you fair enough idea of what your interest is vis-a-vis what the content of this course is, and figure out whether you want to do knowledge representation, in which case the lectures on first order logic would be important for you, whether you want to do reasoning under uncertainty. So all the lectures that we have done on decision making under uncertainty, Bayesian networks, and utility theory, those lectures would be important for you. If you're really interested in, let's say, machine learning, then the last module where we do lectures on the history of machine learning and its trends and future, thereafter supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning would be of interest to you. So depending on your personal interest, this is how you can look at it. As for your exam point of view, all the lectures are important because one section will try to cover recall of all the lectures that's possible. So then there is Vikash Gupta, who says how to get better marks on these subjects. I'm not sure of the question, but maybe you are asking about getting marks in this exam. Now this is becoming more of repetition, but then please do the lectures very carefully and do the assignments. If you're interested to be one of the toppers, then you should also look up additional material of the concepts taught, and I think you should be fine. So if you have any more questions, I would be pleased to take this. Otherwise, we can wrap up. And I wish you the very best for your exams, as well as your journey in AI. My emphasis, as I would repeat again, please look at this AI course as your first stepping stone. You get all the fundamentals of artificial intelligence and machine learning. Try to think of how you are going to apply this in your own domain of expertise, and then prepare yourself for a position of AI and ML in an engineering field, instead of jumping around to the bandwagon and becoming just a AI ML or a data science expert. You can be an expert on AI ML and engineering. Okay? So that is what has always been my emphasis. Please strive for that. Thank you very much. So if there are no questions, we will wind up the session now. Thank you.